Hello and welcome to FoodiePEDIA 365 podcast, the podcast series where we talk about career transitions and explore what learning really looks like beyond the traditional classroom. I am Patrick Oayi and I'm glad you are here. In today's episode, we are unpacking a powerful question. Are we learning to pass exams or to pass on wisdom? This is an important conversation because more people are beginning to sense a disconnect between school achievement and real life readiness. If you've ever asked yourself, why didn't I learn this? Then this episode will resonate deeply with you. So let's dive right in. Talking point 1. The purpose of learning. Has it shifted? Most of us grew up believing that learning was tied to grades, exams, and certificate. But somewhere along the line, we stopped asking what learning was originally meant to achieve. Let's have an overview of this subject. Traditional education often focuses on memorization. Recall this, repeat that, produce this answer under pressure. But the original purpose of learning was growth, not grades. It was about understanding how the world works, building character, learning responsibility, and gaining skills to navigate real life. But when the goal becomes only passing exams, learning becomes transactional, not transformational. This matters because when exam scores define success, we neglect the deeper skills that shape meaningful lives: critical thinking, emotional intelligence, communication, creativity, and wisdom. If learning becomes only a tool for passing tests, we risk producing high scorers but low thinkers. And that brings us to a key question. If exams don't capture real learning, what does? Research actually points us toward something far more powerful. Talking point 2. Real learning comes from experience. Let's talk about where true learning happens, and surprisingly, it's not always in classrooms. Let's have an overview of this as well. Studies show that people remember experiences far more than information. We learn through solving real problems, working with others, failing and trying again, asking questions, making decisions, dealing with consequences. Neuroscience research even shows that emotionally engaging experiences activate more areas of the brain, making the learning stick. Why it's important? Well, this is important because it challenges us to rethink how we measure smart. Grades don't reflect adaptability. Exams don't reflect creativity, but real experience build both. And if experience teaches us how to grow, then wisdom teaches us how to live, which leads us to our final talking point. Talking point 3. Wisdom, the missing piece in modern learning. Wisdom is not the same as knowledge. Knowledge fills the mind, wisdom shapes the life. Let's look at this. Wisdom comes from reflection, mentorship, context, and perspective. It includes things like knowing what matters, understanding consequences, making sound decisions, learning from others, seeing patterns, listening more deeply. None of these are taught through exams. In many cultures, wisdom was traditionally passed on through communities, through stories, shared struggles, and lived experiences. Why does this matter? This matters because wisdom is what helps us navigate relationships, careers, leadership, conflict, and purpose. In a world full of information, the people who thrive are the ones who can interpret, apply, and share what they know wisely. What are your key takeaways in today's podcast? So, what should you take away from today? Learning has drifted from growth to great, and we need to bring it back. 2. Real learning comes from real experiences, not just exams. 3. Wisdom is what makes knowledge meaningful, and it's passed on through people, not papers. As we move forward, let's challenge ourselves to learn not only for achievement but for impact. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. I hope this conversation inspires you to rethink what learning really means and what wisdom you can pass on to others. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Patrick Owai. Thanks for listening.